This is your Frontier opening bell. It's the 26th day of October, Thursday. Let's get the show started, everyone, shall we? Lift up the markets and look at the Nigerian stocks down by 0.02%, just a margin of less than 10 billion naira in net local currency value, as investors booked 1.25% profit on Jitco shares, whose earnings came roaring on Tuesday. Zenith Bank was also down Wednesday, as well as a few other big names in the banking sector, including UBA. The market was brought down by a few profit taken in the banking sector. They got a few other gains, however. Those big banks actually took a bit of a beating. So the market just crept off just a little from what it gained strongly on the previous session, which was Tuesday. The BRVM was down by 0.22% yesterday, roughly 0.25%, despite some gains posted by Bank of Africa, Burkina Faso, as well as Orange Telecom, whose earnings for the group came in earlier in the week. The Egyptian market was better by 3.37%. The Nairobi stock market fell for the deepest since the start of the year, below the 90 reading on the all-share index by 1.32%, printing 89.82. And the South African market down by roughly 0.5% at 70,274. Those were just a few highlights. The Zimbabwe stock market was better by a little over 1% Wednesday. So let's keep that in mind. Today is the fourth trading day of the week, Thursday. Let's move on and grab a couple of headlines across the East African market. With the central bank governor in Kenya, Thugge, says that the local currency, the shillings, is overvalued against the US dollar. In the meantime, Kenya is getting about $500 million in syndicated loan. That to be next month from the Trade and Development Bank, the TDB Bank. And North Korea has shut its embassy in Uganda. Uganda has been a very strong ally of Pyongyang, but that's changing. Airtel Uganda is sweetening the incentives for local investors to participate in its initial public offering, which is expected to bring Airtel Africa onto the Ugandan Stock Exchange. That is expected to be concluded later this month, and then the listing is on the card later in November. And the UAE's Elite Agro project is planning a wheat farm project in Ethiopia, as well as a tea plant in Uganda. Those investments in agro-allied business is coming through from that company based in the UAE. Let's get on to West Africa. Checking a few headlines. With Nigeria considering excise tax imposition on those who are doing parallel market FX transactions, that was part of the initial report presented by the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms and Policy Issues, which was headed by Taiwo Oyedele. That's the part of the recommendations, 20 recommendations that were contained in the report, which were submitted on Tuesday. And Tony Elumelu, the chairman of the UBA Group, wants urgent recapitalization of Nigeria's insurance companies, want a higher figure, about 20 billion for life insurance companies, non-life at 30 billion, and $1 billion naira for those who are doing insurance brokerage business. He also wants compulsory insurance cover to rev up Nigeria's insurance market, which has been ranging about 8% of the total market share. Looking at Ghana's public debt to reach about 99% of the GDP by the end of 2023, and that's according to Fitch Ratings. Côte d'Ivoire says it collected about 40 billion CFA francs from the West African financial markets earlier in the week, while China's direct investment in Africa is up about 1.8 billion, roughly $2 billion in the first 6 months of the current year, 2023. Let's take it up to, let's lift up Southern African markets with the Bank of Namibia yesterday holding rates steady at 7.75%. The SARB, however, which is the South African Reserve Bank, says it's too many rates to rule out a rate hike. We'll see how Lesejo Kangango and his team will decide later in November. In the meantime, Zambia and Tanzania have signed 8 deals regarding the pipeline that has been projects that has been pursued. Zimbabwe has raised power tariffs by 18.8% with immediate effect. And IRENA, which is the International Renewable Energy Association, says that Sub-Saharan Africa may get at least 85% of its power from renewable sources by the year 2030. That to be a real game changer for the continent and keeping in line with the Just Energy Transition Program. Let's take it up to North Africa, where it all started. The EIB, which is the European Investment Bank, pledging 1.3 billion euros for Egypt's green transformation. And the EGX listed South Cairo and Giza mills reporting first quarter profit up about 251% on a year-on-year basis, while Tunisia's industrial trade balance deficit was down 62.7% in the first 9 months, January to September this year. Tunisia's balance of payment crisis is likely to get worse, and that's according to Capital Economics. And finally, Morocco and the EFDB have signed $282 million deals for the health and social protection in the North African economy. And those are your headlines and markets snippets starting your day here on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Amafaye. We thank you for watching, and I'll be back pretty soon.